Hey, what's up, YouTube? How's it going? You've already seen the thumbnail. I was not going to make a video about this just because I didn't really think it was worth my time. You know, we've had people going off all across YouTube about how terrible this film is. So I didn't really feel like I had anything to add to the actual film discussion. But what I did think was fascinating, and this is what I want to kind of address, is the follow-up marketing that's been happening with the Snow White movie. And what I mean by that is the strange and sudden surge of artificially created news articles across a bunch of like aggregate sites that, as far as I can tell, didn't exist before, like movie review sites, movie reviewers, things like that, that are suddenly praising this film out of nowhere. And it is so, to me, as a marketing person, it is so visibly transparent that this is an attempt at rescue marketing, at an attempt at emotional manipulation to get people to go in and watch the movie after it's failed so spectacularly. I can't see how anybody could fall for this, but people are falling for this, and it's sparking some outrage, and that is because the way they are choosing to rescue market this film is by appealing to the concept that people who didn't like the movie are... It's not about disliking the movie, it's about disliking the people involved, which I know there were significant controversies and very well read up on the problems that Rachel Zegler was causing. That's something that I've had to address with cast and crew at my level. So this is a universal problem, and it needs to be dealt with in a very rapid and heavy-handed manner to prevent it from happening again. That wasn't done because Rachel Zegler thinks she's a superstar. I could go on about it, but I know for sure her career's done. She will never be in a movie again. You will never hear about her again or see her again. She's cooked. But it isn't about that. That's not what this marketing is saying. The marketing is saying you, the audience, are sexist for not going, or racist for not going, or any other, just, you know, the usual weird buzzwords, the usual hot topic concerns that people have about social issues, which weren't even present in the movie. The reason I didn't go to see it, and this almost prompted me to create a series called Films I Will Never See, specifically about this movie, and then 6 billion other reviews came out, and I said, you know what, we don't need me adding... There's nothing really I can add to the discussion that hasn't already been said. It's not a good movie, don't go see it. But what I did see was the trailer shots. And keep in mind, people are like, well, the trailer doesn't always represent the movie. The trailer's only purpose is to market the film to me, the audience. The point of the trailer is to show what we're in for, to show the sort of story that they'll be telling, to show the sort of visuals that they will be using to tell those stories. And through that, they're supposed to appeal to me to come and watch their movie. What happens when that doesn't work? What happens when what I see doesn't look good? Well, I don't go to the movie. That doesn't mean that I'm a terrible person for not wanting to support a film, but I will never support a film just because it is made by a specific race, religion, or gender. That's not how this works. You must make a good story for the audience to come and watch your story. Your commentary is welcome. I think commentary is very welcome. I know that people hate when politics and social issues end up in film, but I think that film is a very important medium to bring both across to the public. However, if that is the only purpose of your film, you have not made a movie, you have made a, what's a good word for it? A social piece, a commentary piece, kind of like what I'm doing now, where I'm just giving my opinion about the film and about the social issues surrounding it. So when we're looking at this film, I don't like to have my opinion attacked or discounted by people that are saying, oh, well, no, you just hate this person. I don't hate Rachel Zegler. I think she made some really critical marketing mistakes, very amateurish marketing mistakes that have and will ruin her career. Her career's done. But not because... I'm trying to think of like some of the comments I was getting when I posted this. I posted to social media to kind of beta test this and got the expected hate back. But, you know, the whole like, oh, you just don't like to see a successful woman. Okay. No. Do you understand the sheer number of movies that feature prominent female characters in the leading role that have done exceedingly well, that people love? It's not about that. You know it's not about that. You know what's really going on here. They didn't like that it flopped because she was so outspoken about certain social issues. So now the people that are for the social issues she claimed to be saying, claimed to be standing for, are trying to rile people up to come and promote the film. Meanwhile, the people that hate on those social issues, those freaking weirdos out there, are attacking the film based on that same political merit. None of these things factored into this movie as being good or bad. And I'm immediately going into like movie review mode. I told you I would just keep to the marketing stuff, but we really can't talk about it without including kind of like the environment that this movie has appeared in. So let's look at the marketing specifically. We have articles. I don't know if I can display them on YouTube. I'm still trying to play it really safe, especially early on in my channel's life. But as we grow, I will hopefully show more examples. But I'm sure if you've been on Facebook or Instagram especially, you've seen #1 movie in the world, Snow White. Well, that seems a little strange when no one's going to see it. What's really going on here? This is rescue marketing. So when a film is in bad shape and we send it to what's called the rescue, pretty much what we look at is what's the best of the worst, and then how do we phrase that in a way to make people think that it is actually more successful than it's looking. In this case, by saying it's the #1 movie in the world, we're looking at probably 10 total movies that have released in this time frame. And keep in mind, this time frame is the death of movies time frame. Everything that comes out right now is going to be junk. It's dumping grounds for film. It's the best of the worst right now. So we just cut off the worst. We just say #1 performing box office movie. Did it lose hundreds of millions of dollars? Yes. Is it going to lose probably more? Yeah. You got to understand, like, every day that it is in theaters, it is costing money to promote, to run, and to keep in theaters. So this isn't you throw it in theaters and suddenly it's all just profit from there. No, it is an ongoing balancing act with marketing to keep this film successful and going up. So when we're looking at this film losing money and losing money and losing money, it will continue to drop. It will continue to drop. It is barely outpacing the indie films that also released around the same time that weren't expected to get any sort of following. We're also looking at a Disney release, which is a massive, massive company that is well known for overperforming on even its worst films. So for this to tank so spectacularly, when it hits Rescue Division in marketing, we are panicked. We are terrified because we know that whatever is going on with this, it is not just bad, it is extremely bad. It is extremely bad in terms of the environment surrounding the film, the audience reception and perception of the film. All of these things together impact how we're going to try to get people to come and see the movie. Now, having seen the amount of clips and knowing the entire story, because, it's not even a spoiler because it's a remake of a classic film. It was more, what did they do different? Well, the answer is they didn't really do anything different. They added some unnecessary characters that were never seen again, and then the film ends. that was it. Like, there's nothing to spoil. So when we're tackling this, why then did people love the original Snow White? And why is this remake getting so much hate? So now we as marketing people are going to have to dissect that. And we already know the problem. One was a beautiful artistic work made by highly creative individuals over many, many years. The story was just a foundation for their art to flow through. And then we have the modern day remake, which only looks at the story, tries to dissect and improve on a story that did not need dissecting or improving or modernization. We don't do that. You don't change how a historical story was presented because you feel differently. That's being disingenuous. We look at all this stuff, audience reaction. How many people are actually going to see movies right now? There's not a lot. People are holding on to their money. The economy is still not great. We're in a bit of a recovery, but the economy is still bad. People aren't going to spend $17 for something that they absolutely know they will hate. I see people saying, well, it's meant for kids. You know what else is meant for kids right now is iPads. and scarily enough, TikTok, even though it's causing a whole generation of brain rot. We have ways to entertain children at home for free. We have no reason to spend $17 per head to go and take our kids to a movie theater to watch a film that might be entertaining, that might not be. And from the clips I've seen, I think that children would either not care about this movie because it's not fast-paced enough for a kid, or they would be scared of the horrifying CGI on the dwarves, the awful mid-tier editing, and the stereotypically terrible color grading. I do not understand why Hollywood right now, this is a pet peeve of mine, why Hollywood is afraid of coloring their film. Just put some color in there, my gosh. I know it's meant to be like a metaphor for like how bad people's lives are under the bad queen, but there are other ways to tell that metaphor. you don't have to just suck all the color out of it, because now our audience experience is made worse. Now the audience feels bad, not because of the story, but because they don't like to look at what you're putting in front of them. This sort of story, a whimsical fantasy tale, isn't the place to cheap out on that sort of department. Make things cold, but you can paint some really beautiful strong colors in a cold spectrum, in a scary dark spectrum. Strong blues, strong greens, deep shadow but with gray undertones. You can do so much with vibrant color to still make something feel washed out, sinister, and evil, or depressing and sad. You don't have to just tint the film. This is amateur, terrible stuff. And if nothing else, you know, I know I'm still kind of just this indie guy that makes movies and has opinions on things, but my color grading is always on point. You can go back through my films and nothing is washed, nothing is improperly color graded. And if it is, I'm acutely aware of it, and I've probably remastered it at least once, because I can't stand that. I don't like it when my film's color is terrible, because I know that the audience won't enjoy it. Eye candy is critically important. I know that word means something else, but for me, it's anything that's just enjoyable to look at. Beautiful sweeping vistas, beautiful colorizations, rich, lush forests. Anytime you suck the color out of it, you've done a bad job. I'm back in movie review mode. Let's get back to marketing real quick. If you look at these various outlets that are reporting on the Snow White movie and claiming it's the #1 movie in the world, claiming that the Rotten Tomatoes score is incorrect, that it's actually receiving a 74% approval rating and not the 0.01 or whatever it is, the 2% approval rating right now, these are all disingenuous. We look at this, claim that it's #1 movie in the world. It is, out of 5 equally terrible films. It's also lost more money than they did by a large margin. When we have them claiming things like the Rotten Tomatoes score, we have to actually look at what's going on with the Rotten Tomatoes score. And what it turns out what they were doing is they're looking only at verified accounts, which is you can go through a process to get verified on Rotten Tomatoes. So your opinion holds more weight, I guess. You're still a person, but you're just proving that you're not a bot. What it also means, though, is that the opinions of people who don't want to go through the verification process, you know, your casual film viewer, in other words, most of the audience, they're just wiping these people from the record as if they don't exist or don't matter. Most of the people that just hated the movie and they went to say that they hate it on Rotten Tomatoes, which is 99% of them, same with any other movie, they were giving it vastly negative reviews. And their opinions aren't bot-like opinions. There's bot opinions where you can, I'm saying BOT, by the way, not bot as in purchase, bot as in robotic, artificial, spammy content. When you look at these opinions, they have the same concerns that I put out there, where it's not a good film. Children aren't being entertained by that, or adults aren't being entertained by it. The story wasn't radically politicized, which I appreciated. I was worried for a bit, but they didn't do that. What they also didn't do is really make any meaningful changes to anything. Everything was just kind of par for the course. Where things were changed, it was made worse. The inclusion of the 7, I almost said 7 assassins, but I think that they were just like thieves or something like that. They show up and then they disappear. Where did they come from? Why were they in there? They didn't serve any purpose other than to kind of pad runtime. Why did this happen? Why was this change in here? These changes didn't improve the film. Audiences weighed in on that, and then the general consensus was, yes, it's bad, and then everything calmed down. And then suddenly all these articles from companies that I've never heard of, like reviewers, like allegedly reviewing companies that have never reviewed anything before in their lives, that have very AI generated content, to me appears to be, are suddenly saying how fabulous and wonderful this is. This is a rescue marketing operation. They know that it's dead in the water. They're just trying to get what little money they can get back. It's not some big social issue. It's not something to get like all riled up and frustrated over. It's not something where, you know, some political, I have to be careful not to say American politics, because I know that American politics are kind of worldwide politics right now, but American political message that doesn't matter to anybody. There's none of that. It really isn't in there. That's not the point. The point is they didn't make a good film. And it could have just ended there. But they continue to shove in your face and shove in your face and shove in your face, trying to get the more activist-oriented among us to go for no other reason than to suffer through this movie for a political or some other social movement issue. That's ridiculous. If you wanted to bring real light and real attention to this, and I really believe in having these elements in film, make a film that incorporates them organically. Don't try to shove it into a remake. And please, if you are an actor or an actress, I might even isolate this for a clip. If you are an actor or an actress and you are actively speaking out against the core concept of the film that you are working on, if you are making a fool out of yourself live on television, you aren't going to get more work. You have an overinflated sense of your own ego, and you will not be hired again. We've kicked plenty of people off set for this kind of behavior, usually at a lower level. But at high Hollywood, we're talking A-listers. I work with C-listers and D-listers, if that's a thing. They work with A-listers and sometimes AAA listers, big names. When you're working with these people, there is a level of I'm putting up with this that you put up with because they're superstars. Rachel Zegler is not a superstar. She's just another actress out of the bunch. They tried to promote her as a superstar because the marketing needs to appear that they have big names attached when the audience comes to watch. That's important to people to know that these are proven stars and not just some random nobody that can barely portray a character. But she is, unfortunately, a random nobody that can barely portray a character, and will probably at this point never portray a character again because of the problems included. Their actual star power came from Gal Gadot, who a lot of people love. I really liked her in Wonder Woman. I get a lot of hate for liking Wonder Woman. I don't know why. It wasn't a bad movie. It was cheesy, it was corny, but that was what it was meant to be. Except for the main film, but that's for a topic for a different film. So I don't have any problem with Gal Gadot, but she does not do a terribly good job. Also, fun fact, do you know it's Gal Gadot? I just found that out. It is actually Gal Gadot. The Gal Gadot is like something we were all gaslit into thinking, and now we all say it by reflex. It's Gal Gadot. But anyway, she's in this film. She shows up. She's not good. And the juxtaposition for her supposed to be like this ugly, vain, evil queen doesn't flow. You can see that from the trailers. You can see that from the leaked clips that are available on YouTube. When I don't want to watch a movie, I will go and watch other people's reviews of it, or I will try to find like pirated clips of it on the internet. I have no shame. I'm not going to waste my time or money on something that I'm going to hate. I go to like one movie a year, and the rest I just watch through proxy. Because I don't want to clutter my mind, because I don't want to ruin my view of cinematography and filmmaking by subjecting myself to poor quality films. Hopefully that makes sense to you. But bringing it back around, you have this cast that is dysfunctional. You have a story that is broken. You have a color gradist who doesn't know how to grade. You have CGI that's horrific. We know the whole situation with the dwarfism actors. Peter Dinklage, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? But all this came around to a production that if I were on the team, I would have scrapped as hard and as fast as I possibly could have. This would have been direct to DVD. No one would have heard about it again. And Disney's done that recently too with some films. There's no reason to subject theater crowds to this. So they're not even being able to recover right now. I think they're not being able to recover even from the foreign market. And I think that's why they're scared, and that's why they're trying to pull in more money. But you have to understand that if Rachel Zegler had said and done nothing, there wouldn't be rescue marketing. We wouldn't be talking about that right now. What would be happening right now is people would go to see the film, they would say, that was pretty mid, and then they would leave, and it would be another generic, forgettable Disney remake. Instead, we have these high-paid companies, and they're paid to make these reviews. I can't think of any other reason that these would be appearing as frequently and as commonly across the board as they are. But these articles, that maybe they're just hate baiting, maybe they're just trying to get people to, react negatively to the post. But that's an old strategy that people are more familiar with. Now, what does surprise me, and I will wrap this up because I think I've said everything I need to say, this is just rescue marketing for this Disney movie. Don't go see it. It's not actually good. It's not actually number one in anything other than a weird, twisted numerical sense. It is absolutely not a review bombing campaign. It's actually not good. It's actually not good. You don't have to see it to know that it's not good. Never let somebody gaslight you into going and watching something that does not appeal to you. Make the studio put in the work to do the film well. If the trailer looks really good, if the sources and resources that you're seeing from it look really good, go see the movie. If it doesn't, you have no obligation to ever go see a movie. ever. That's why I don't pressure people to go watch the movies that I'm a participant in, that the companies that I work with have created. It is your choice what you want to see. And if I'm not doing a good enough job on the film for you to organically come and watch it, I am not going to beg you or lie to you to make you come watch my film. Even as somebody who knows that marketing is reasonably effective on weaker-minded individuals, I don't really want to draw a weak-minded crowd. I don't want to draw people that are easily manipulated into watching anything, because when I go home at night and I see the reviews for my film, I will say, well, yes, but it's the same crowd that applauded for every other piece of junk out there. We need to hold filmmakers, especially big companies like Disney, to a higher standard, not just in terms of marketing, but in terms of what they are giving us. I am very ready and very excited to watch more Disney movies. I know that Disney will make more good films that I want to watch, but right now they are not doing that. They are not creating quality content. They are not creating compelling stories. They are putting politics into it so they will have a scapegoat. Okay. But when every single thing they put out is scapegoated almost before the film releases, it means they are preparing for the worst because they know that the worst is coming. Hold them to a higher standard. Don't go see a movie just because it has your favorite social issue in it. Don't go see a movie just because it has your favorite actor in it. Buy it on DVD if you've got to. Go to a movie and see the movie because they made a wonderful, artistic, and entertaining project with a good story that you are excited and energetic about and you want to go see. Support movies that do good and make real art. I'm Ben. I'm marketing, cinematography, everything in the kitchen sink. Thank you for watching my video. I really hope you will like and subscribe. Comment below. I'm sure I'll get hate for this. I do every time I take these kind of topics on. I've deleted a lot of videos because of it, but you know what? This one's getting left up. I don't care. You guys can dislike it or like it or whatever you want to do. Do not turn the comment section into a political discourse. I will delete your comment. This isn't the place for that. Discussing the cinematography of a film, discussing the marketing around the film, that's a legitimate discussion. That's the sort of discussion I want you guys to be having and thinking about because it pertains to your films when you're making movies. If you're having to send your film to rescue marketing, you have already failed. Okay? You've made a bad. Admit it, own it, make something better next time. Thank you for watching. Catch you guys later. Peace.